all businesses, Web3 or not, are a lot similar than we all think. Last question, I think, was if you're already doing something, you already have a reward system, you already have tokens, whatever it is. When you integrate the the Upside co-op into your project, we aren't going to, I'm always going to say, please consult with legal counsel on what exactly, you're doing already. But we're integrating in as a way to supplement what is already happening. You don't have to change what you're doing to integrate Upside co-op. There are different legal implications with the different things that people do. So again, that's why I would say everyone should consult with their attorney, but that doesn't preclude you from being able to leverage, our platform and add the community to, as we say, add to the cap table, but bring them on, make them equity holders as well. That at least is going to mitigate some of your risk, right? Everything you continue to do, right, has its own risks and everything involved. So again, you have to make decisions for your project and what's best for the project. But the straight answer to the question is you don't really have to do anything or change anything. We can just step in, integrate, and you can move forward with at least being able to get a little bit more sleep at night.
Does a co-op, this is just a quick question for myself. If I were to become part of your co-op, let's say I had a project and I had an existing reward structure in place, and I don't have really, I guess the whole equity of my company is currently, or would be currently, the NFTs or the rewards that I've, given out or that have been bought or sold within my project. Do you actually create an equity structure based on the existing holdings and then evaluate it from there, or is it something that's evolving over time? Like, let's say I do a future drop. How would that work in an equity structure? I thought you said that there's something having to do with an equity structure being implemented when you join something like a co-op.
Yeah. So let's see if we can approach this the right way. If you're just a person and you're issuing something, that's a different story, right? Let's say Genfinity, I'm sure is like an LLC, right, behind it, or a C corp, right? And so when that's the case, right, you already do have an equity structure, right? If it's an LLC, you have units, right? Someone owns those units. Some person or group of people own that company, right? And what we're doing is outside of the tokens, because the tokens aren't equity, right? And they aren't the ownership in the company, right? The units of the LLC are. We're taking some of those units, you're giving that to the cooperative, and then we're measuring their activity within the digital assets ecosystem to reward them and for them to earn the equity in the company itself, right? And so in that context, if you already got NFTs and you do another drop or whatever it is, those are actually a lot more comparative to products that a company sells, right?
Okay. Yep.
And yeah, they can go up and down in value, just like Pez dispenser or a baseball card can change in value, right? That's what NFTs are. And what we're doing is we're adding in that layer. So now, based off of your purchase of NFTs, the secondary royalties of NFTs, the utilization of them, whatever you're rewarding people for on chain, we can mirror that with the equity ownership as well.
So that's always going to fall down. So, like, for example, if and I'm not saying we're going to, but if Genfinity were to ever, launch, Valor's laughing. I'm definitely not saying we're doing that. Like a token or NFTs or any of that stuff. And then internally within the company, we decide, hey, X amount of revenue from NFTs or from a token, gets kicked back to the company members through an equity structure. It's essentially just, everything always falls to the equity structure, I guess. And it's just kind of diversifying that equity structure out to to community as well in a way that makes sense on a, you know, and that's going to be totally different from every project. You know, if they decide to go the co-op route. But yeah, I definitely understand it now. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I think that was a really cool answer, because I think there's a lot of community members. I've talked to several projects that are looking at, you know, Revshare and all these things, and it's like, ooh, I don't know. It's like, it makes me cringe, right? Like, I think that maybe this is a safer way, and it does seem like it could be definitely utilized by quite a few projects that want to kind of go that route, to be able to, you know, reward beyond just NFTs and tokens, but actually give back to them in a portion of the equity of their company, or their NFT project, which is great. I love it. It's awesome.
Well, and you can even do rev share through a co-op too, right? Because they're equity holders, right?
Exactly.
You issue a dividend to the equity holders, boom, there's your rev share, right? So I'm also not going to say that Genfinity's going to do this, right? But if you were to do it, right, I think this is a good comparison to draw. If you know, just like Yuga has done, they've sold a license to the brand of Bored Ape many times, right? And they've generated a lot of revenue from that, right? They sell a license to a toy maker that makes these little Bored Ape toys, right? And let's say Genfinity does the same thing. You know, where that value is accruing when you're getting that revenue, that's always accruing at the equity level. It's not accruing at the token level, right? So really what we're doing and what we're saying is that you can now accrue all of the actual value created by a project, and it's going to benefit token holders, and it's going to do it compliantly. It's going to do it legally. That doesn't necessarily always mean that your tokens are now compliant and legal, but it does mean that the value share is.
That's awesome to know. That's cool.
I wanted to ask Batty real quick, because I know it's late there. You guys have an upcoming launch of the one of ones through, I think it's Hedera Sentient, isn't it? Can you tell us just a tiny bit, you know, more about kind of the one of ones that you guys are launching, as well as, and I know that for those of you just hopping in now, Batty's super old school in the Hedera community. Maybe what you're looking forward to in 2023 with this launch and moving forward, Batty, because I know it's late there. So
yeah, thank you. I mean, it's 9 p.m, so we're pretty good. But yeah, so we've got a Generation H launch coming up on February 14th. Brilliant timing for Hashing Times, actually, so couldn't have picked a better date. Whitelist is on the 13th. Generation H has been something we've worked on, actually, since we collabed with Fasizi on the Fasizi HBears V1. And we've kind of kept going back and forwards, and as we've developed, we've kept changing. We finally got to a point where we're really happy with that. And I mentioned earlier, you know, we had to learn how to use, you know, Hashlips and Visual Studio Code, and it was an educational journey for us. And we're here, we're excited and nervous at the same time, actually, to share the work. There's 676 Generation HBears, all one of one, with I think it's about 17 traits with a variety of different rarities. We're going to be looking at how they can be farmed and staked, and start to apply those sorts of things as well moving forward. So we're really looking forward to that. It's been a year in the making. Whitelist tokens are out. There are some kind of VIP holders with multiple, because we just basically distributed the whitelist tokens to our community and said, look, you give them out to friends, do giveaways, because I think that's far more powerful. There's no royalties on them. There's no fallback fees on them. We don't even want them on a marketplace. Come into the Emporium Discord and just say, anyone got a whitelist, and there'll be someone there to give you one. So don't feel like you've got to pay for one. Please don't. Just help yourself. They're there. So we're looking forward to that. It's on Hedera Sentient. Sam and the team have been really, really great. It's 8 p.m. UTC when we launch. That's coming up, obviously, this week. For the rest of the year, we're really, really looking forward to the second phase of pixel drops and more community challenges. We're hoping that we can start to develop more educational resources to onboard, you know, not just anyone into Web3. Obviously, we've partnered with Helping Hands, and we're working with other community members as well, because we've all got a collective focus. And you'll see that, you know, in other Discords now, there are Helping Hands channels and so on and so forth. And we do our own educational stuff within the Pixel Drops Discord, and we hope to do more of those. we want to start to help and create resources to help educate the educators, and to, start to get the language of Web3 into education, into family dialogues. And we can do that through that kind of creativity and fun. So for the rest of the year, Series 2 pixel drops. If we sell out Series 1, then we'll obviously launch Series 2. If not, that'll be sort of September time. Who knows where the rabbit holes will take us? We've got lots of ideas. Obviously, we'll be developing Generation H as a project and driving that forward throughout the year as well. We've got more merch coming. Obviously, at the moment, we've got our Stronger Together line out, and we're going to be giving away a bundle actually for Hashentines. There will be a special pixel drop from Hattie, but there will be quite a big bundle of Stronger Together merch for Hashentines. I mean, if you want to get a conversation started about Hedera and what the community stands for, those kind of neon H bears on the t-shirt, definitely do that. And we welcome anyone to go along and take a look. But this year's going to be great. There's so much going on, actually. Collaborations, things I've forgotten about that are coming up throughout the year. So yes, we're really excited for 2023. Learning more, developing more, growing as the community, and being part of such an amazing kind of time in this space.
Yeah, I mean, I will give a shout. Like, if you guys are potentially not in the Hedera ecosystem right now, Batty is certainly a follow. I would definitely give Upside Co-op a follow as well. I pinned something to the top there. Batty is somebody that definitely will, answer questions for you, help you out, maybe potentially even from a contact standpoint. And I'm going to get killed if I don't mention this. So we are Hashentines Days. It's the second tweet pinned to the top. We're doing it Saturday and Sunday from 11:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to push out the Twitter Spaces today. We have, I think we have 60,000 HBAR or more, and about 200,000 HBAR in NFTs and tokens. The forum is live on that tweet that I already put up above. It's going to be probably, I think we have 34, 35, 36, somewhere around there projects. So there's 10-minute time slots for, do the math, to 3 hours a day. And we're going to be doing like 5-minute discussion with the projects, and then kind of roll right into the giveaway for the whoever won. I don't even know. I think we're over 100 NFTs, and like I said, probably around 60,000 HBARs. So, and also on top of that, real quick plug for the Series 65 that we're doing through Genfinity, and I certainly recommend you give them pre-IPO club a follow. So I know Tyler mentioned, financial thresholds around being an accredited investor, and that is there's ways that you could potentially educate yourself and be sponsored by one of the 15,000 RIAs that are in the United States. And once you do attain that sponsorship, as a byproduct, you do become an accredited investor. Pre-IPO is helping us build that out. So if you have questions about the Series 65 that we're doing, give Pre-IPO a follow and DM them with any questions that you might have, and would love to see you guys get into it. So that's free again. The Series 65 guide that we're doing is free. The LightHouse report that we do is free. These spaces are obviously free for you all. I wanted to ask you, Tyler, just because I kind of was thinking about this with the Pi-Fi aspects and Upside Co-op. You guys obviously have Hashgraph Name as well. And just trying to provide some thought leadership here, maybe forward thinking, but like, I'm sure that you guys see some sort of a feedback loop or synergy with the Hashgraph Name stuff and the co-op aspects. Is there any, can you talk kind of, if you see kind of that synergy between the different products or ecosystems that you guys are really trying to put together from the Pi standpoint?
Yeah, no, I mean, we do. We see a lot of synergies. Hashgraph Name was a great opportunity for us to, but before being able to, launch everything, to be able to get into the ecosystem, to, make a quote unquote name for ourselves, but to also get a feel for what it means to build community in the ecosystem, to understand what the community is like, so that we could, learn how to best support them, how to best support the rest of the ecosystem. One of the interesting things is a lot of the people who have become, our community at Hashgraph Name, the people who hang out in our Discord, most commonly, they're project founders from all the other projects across Hedera, and that was really what our goal was to get in and to meet as many of the people that we could, provide something that was useful, that honestly the whole that Hashgraph needed, and to be able to learn from that. It's been a great experience to be able to launch Hashgraph Name, to build alongside community, to get to know everyone in the ecosystem, and to do it in a way that was very authentic and not just trying to reach out to everybody and introduce ourselves. So and where does that go from here? I'm not going to spoil anything, so I can't tell anybody yet. But
I always try to ask those targeted questions, or maybe somebody just like gives up some information that they weren't ready to give up. So totally appreciate that. Yeah.
So sometimes the obfuscation itself is the true giveaway. When the non-answer is itself the alpha, right?
Yeah. So I asked Batty this, but for you guys looking forward into 2023, co-publishing a white paper with KPMG and Oric is obviously kind of gigantic. We did see, the raise that you guys did, and I forget what it was like. Was it 3.6 or 4.6 million that you guys did from the traditional purview? What are you looking forward to in 2023? Like, for you guys, should we expect to see any more kind of announcements coming out? Is there kind of integration points that are going to be tackled from the Hashgraph Name stuff, additional utility aspects, or just anything? Just what are you looking forward to this year?
Yeah, there's man, I'm looking forward to everything. For ourselves, for honestly the ecosystem in general, I think there's a lot of really cool things that are happening. I would say, number one, the thing that we're looking forward to the most is getting the product out into the world, to getting people using it, and to continue to develop something that is the best that the product could be, to drive growth both for the companies and for their customers, right? Like, that is our number one goal this year, is to build the best product that we could around this model, and to iterate and evolve the thing that we already have built, as we launch it in the next few weeks. I think, and I'll answer. My big answer to the question is also an answer to the previous question that I didn't get to tackle. But what types of traditional companies are we seeing interest from? I'm going to say that is the thing that I'm most excited about for 2023, and I think that's where we're all going to see a lot of the bigger announcements coming, from us over the next few months to a year. What kinds of, and the reason being, what kinds of companies? It's pretty much everybody, right? We are talking to apparel brands and restaurants and retail brands. We are talking to consumer technology companies. We are talking to honestly, like ESG companies, everything in between. There's interest pretty much from everybody across the board. And part of that is because it's a very obvious answer to why it's valuable, right? I'll draw the example, talking about, let's say, an apparel brand, Adidas versus Nike, right? We make shared ownership, community ownership so easy that it's just like, it just starts with your spend, right? Like, think about it. Like, I go and I spend $100 on a pair of shoes from Nike, and I'm going to get 5% back in equity. I'm going to earn $5 worth of equity, right? But now that I have that, the more that I spend, right? Not only the more that I earn, but the more value I create for what I've already earned, right? The more that I share through word of mouth, the more that I get my friends to buy, and to share in this new identity that we're creating for ourselves as big sneakerheads, right? The more value we're all creating together, the more we participate in that. It makes obvious sense for a consumer. It makes obvious sense for a brand, right? And then when you go to make that decision on, well, where am I going to shop? Am I going to buy a pair of Adidas, or am I going to buy a pair of Nike shoes? The answer becomes very clear. It's, well, I'm going to buy where they value me, right? As a community member, as someone who is a fan of this brand, right? So I'm going to go buy that pair of Nike shoes, right? I'm going to buy that limited edition drop of sneakers because that's what I like, and that's where I actually feel like I belong, right? So that is what we're excited about for 2023, is that becomes a reality for brands in any industry and at any stage. And I guess really what I'm most excited about is to see what happens from there, right? When that actually starts happening, where do communities and where do brands take it?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's really interesting too, because just kind of even thinking outside the box a little bit, talking. To me, it seems like it could be an amazing way to work with traditional companies, under kind of we take care of our community within a brand or within whatever it may be based on X, Y, and Z, and we're moving a portion of this to. And I would love to hear somebody like Nike or Adidas, but I know that there's a time in building kind of that name recognition and all these things out. But starting that and being a thought leader in that, and then it's almost like, okay, well, there's also kind of a natural connection into Web3, where it could almost be looked at as if we can get kind of, some brand aspects or whatever within this kind of mechanism of just giving back to community under a co-op structure, whether that be, a tiny bit of equity that goes into a co-op structure or whatever it is. It's almost like, as a byproduct of that, they get an additional community within Web3, where if they do see synergy, it's much easier to onboard them on, because they kind of like are being integrated into the community without being integrated directly into the community, which is pretty crazy to think about. So
yeah, no, it's those are the network effects of community ownership right there, and that's it. That's what's going to drive a lot of stuff, right? I mean, we might be surprised with some of the names that start adopting this over the next year. Nothing outrageously soon, but everyone might be a little surprised with some of the names that come out at some point. Like they want, and the reason being, a lot of them, they look at this as their authentic way of beginning the Web3 experiment. And it's not about what they've already done in Web3 or if they have done anything in Web3. It's to do this, and then they can start layering on all sorts of different things. NFTs for identity and experience. Layering in different kinds of digital assets. Whatever they want to do, that they're able to now start participating even more thoroughly with their community, creating a stronger, bigger community, accessing a community that they did not have access to before, being the Web3 community. There's a lot of really value enhancing things that happen the minute that you make the decision to start doing shared ownership and to start leveraging a co-op.
It's a really, I mean, we always hear Web 2 and Web 3, but I always like thinking about Web 2.5 and what Web 2.5 represents, because if you look at these gigantic boom and bust cycles in crypto in general, a lot of it is because you see projects or ecosystems just go full Web3. Like, even look at Nike and Adidas with the NFTs that they launched. I mean, they went essentially full Web3 right off the bat. Kind of launched into Ethereum, X, Y, and Z. That Web 2.5 aspect is kind of really where I think we start seeing what mass adoption really looks like when Web 3 is truly mass adopted. And I think that breaking down those silos with what traditionally exists, building out community, and then kind of transitioning in a way that makes sense for that community to go totally Web3 is a really kind of what's going to be interesting to watch. So yeah, I really appreciate all the answers, dude.
Oh, of course.
So yeah, I mean, guys, I I don't have anything else, Valor, unless you do. Again, just to give you guys a heads up, Hashentine's Days, 250,000 plus HBAR and tokens or NFTs is going to be Saturday and Sunday. The link is pinned above if you guys are interested in participating. Last October, I think we had 7,000 people in the space. We had about 300,000 HBAR and NFTs and tokens. We were able to measure onboarding into Hedera, and we created about between 6,000 and 8,000 wallets within like an 8-day period of time, which is pretty ridiculous around one event. Doing something similar as well. And this isn't just for new people. Obviously, we want to onboard people into the network. So when you go onto that form above, you'll see, hey, create a hashpack if you don't have one. We also, I know Batty mentioned helping hands. If you're not sure of how to participate in Hedera or unclear on setting up a wallet, we have a link to helping hands right within that. They're not affiliated directly with us, but they've been in the community for quite some time. So we try to drive as much traffic to them as possible. That'll be Saturday and Sunday from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, both days. And then also, like I talked about, the Series 65. So definitely give pre-IPO a follow. Definitely give Batty a follow. Definitely give Upside Co-op and Upside Tyler, who was up here. And these are going to be, I think, the way forward. So we would love to hear some feedback from you guys. You can hop in Genfinity's Discord if you like these Twitter spaces. And again, these are going to be an evolving thing. We were doing, interviews just on videos, but I think it makes much more sense to kind of do them where the community is. If we get questions, we'll answer them. And yeah, just keep moving forward. So I really appreciate your time today, Tyler, and Batty, as always. Super awesome to talk to you. I mean, you and I have been talking for years, so it's always a pleasure, man. And tell Hattie I said thank you for hopping in. That was honestly amazing. So. All right, guys, we're going to end it, and thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. We'll see you Saturday and Sunday for Hashentine's Days.